How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're running a load of steel from Connecticut to a job site that's in rural Montana. Oh, I really can't say that word. How embarrassing. Anyways, let's get this truck turned around, and then we're going to do some stuff on the inside to fix the load. Alright, so the guys who loaded this, they were not happy. The gentleman I'm driving this trailer for, this is his trailer. I'm being paid as a tractor unit only. And they wanted to load it on a flatbed. They didn't like the fact that it was an enclosed trailer. So instead of loading it properly, they just kind of threw all the steel in there, and there was no real good way to secure it down. It would slide back and forth, and it was not stacked in a good way. You normally want to stack it on its sides, and it all locks into each other with a kind of like pyramid-like structure. But that's not what they did here. So I got to spend the next like 2 hours or so to try to straighten it out. Then what we're doing, which is what I'm doing right now here, is I have to lock in the D-rings throughout the trailer. Then I'm going to throw some straps on them, crank them down, and then a little later on I'm going to put some like cardboard and plastic underneath the straps so they don't fray against the steel, even though that wouldn't have been a real big issue with this load because the steel was actually nice and smooth instead of being sharp on the edges. This is incredibly smart. This is all the adventure now. You may notice that I am not having fun here. My strap kept popping out of the D-ring on this one, and I had to reset it a couple times. It turns out the D-ring was actually broken, so it wouldn't lock onto the tracks in the wall, and every time I put pressure it'd pop out, so I had to replace it with a different D-ring to get it to work. On top of that, it's about 120 degrees in this trailer right now with really high humidity, so it was overall not a great time, but we got it done and we got on our way back to the shop. Alright, so once I finished getting all that stuff loaded, I hopped in the truck and I headed back to the shop. Unfortunately, it started to rain between the time I left the steel place and the time I got to the shop. And that's where I made the biggest mistake here of the day. I should have turned to the left on the screen. However, I turned to the right because there was a logo in the way, and due to the rain, that driveway to the right was very muddy, and I got incredibly stuck. So as you'll be able to see here, as I'm trying to back up and swing around that corner, every time I either go forward or backwards, my truck slides more towards that telephone pole behind the truck. And unfortunately, there's an anchor wire coming off the telephone pole, heading straight to pretty much where the wheels of the trailer are right now. And as I got closer to the pole, I sunk more and more into the mud because I started going off the driveway and into the grass. We're gonna stop here before this gets too bad. Jesus, I'm such an idiot. Luckily, my friend has a pretty big Liebherr excavator on site, so I'm gonna go grab that and see if I can get this truck out. Fully have a plan here. I'm just kind of making up as I go. What I'm trying to do right now is at least get it on the road high enough where I could possibly get some traction, and if I could get up just a little bit, I'm hoping that I could just back it straight. Yeah, as you can see, that didn't work. So we're going on plan B. We're gonna swing the machine lower on the hillside and then try to pull it straight on the road. And I'm gonna swing around the back of the trailer, hook up back there, and pull the whole truck straight back. Alright, now I'm running into two major problems with the machine. And the first is I can't get any traction. I'm just starting to slide sideways down the hill and I don't want to get the machine stuck. The second is the swing brake isn't really in existence anymore, so I have to put the bucket down, push back on the stick as I'm walking the machine back in order to keep it from swinging downhill and pulling the truck in that direction. I wanted to pull the truck further up the driveway there, but just with all the stuff going on with the machine, I figured it's better to go to the back and pull from the back. The issue with pulling from the back is there's not really anywhere great to hook up to, and I was worried about bending the bumper in a way where I'd not be able to open the doors again. But luckily I found a place and I didn't damage it whatsoever, so it worked out.
So I got to keep coming up here and turning these wheels this way because there's no one in there. It's just in neutral, so I have to keep them. They want to turn the opposite way, so they're facing like that way. So I got to keep them facing this way so I can go around that telephone pole there. But we're actually making progress here. So.
And just like that, she's out. So the next day we showed up. A group of guys were supposed to load the side-by-side overnight, but they never showed up. So we had to do it in the morning. We built this cribbing out of some old railroad ties, and I believe they're 6x6 or 4x4s or something, for the rear tires of the side-by-side to sit on. And then we covered it with some plywood and put some plywood over parts of the steel so the front tires didn't scratch it up at all.
You only have one?
One more?
How many do you have?
20.
Let's go.
I think 4 is okay.
Yeah, like 4 pieces is good.
Unfortunately, my camera dies here in a minute, so I didn't get the full process. But what the plan here is, we're going to pick the side-by-side up with this one forklift, back the truck under as you're seeing, and then we have a second forklift coming around the back, and he hooks in the rear of the side-by-side, and then we drive it in as the second forklift slowly pushes it in at the same time.
side's good. Now we just have to bring it back.
Okay. Maybe another loop, making another loop there to hold them better.
Yeah, I just want to get it back a little bit.
Not really. Oh yeah, in the middle. I don't know how we're going to bring it down there.
I think they have a forklift or something over there.
We're going to ask him how you put in there. Little more. Tighten them up a little more and you okay. You eat good last night?
What?
You eating good last night?
Eat?
Uh-huh.
I guess so.
You guess so. I don't think you got enough power for today.
All right, well, we're finally off. I wanted to leave, what time? Like around 10 o'clock this morning. I slept in until about 8:30, and yeah, it just didn't work out that way. It's currently 7 o'clock in the evening, so we are in the state of Connecticut. Probably gonna pass out over into the border of New York relatively soon, so you know, I'm just hoping. I would love to get to Ohio, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think I'm probably gonna stop somewhere in Pennsylvania. If I can get midway through Pennsylvania before I'm tired, then that's what I'll do. But I didn't get my armrest fixed. I forgot to do that. I should have done that when we were waiting, but too late now.
5 miles, turn left on Route 55.
Yeah, so I'll just spend more time driving with my right arm once I'm done with this camera. So we'll check in a little later.
Believe it or not, the drive went really smooth. I didn't really have any issues, so I guess cue the B-roll. Alright, so right around the other side of this hill is our destination. I did not film it because there's a lot of really tight switchbacks and I needed both my hands and full concentration to get the truck up there without falling off the side of the hill. So that's it, we made it.
The next project is right dealing with this. So when I lay down when I'm going across the country, you can see the seat is about there and these stick up, so my back is pretty much hitting the tops of these. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take some wood, I'm gonna build a little structure that goes up to about here, just around these, so when I drive across the country I could just simply slide it on and be able to lie there without hitting these. So
Alright, so the first step here is to set up the table saw. I gotta rip these two leftover boards down to 9 inches wide and 7 inches wide. Now that I have the boards ripped down, I cut one piece off to go and check, make sure I had the right height. I can't remember the exact height, I believe it was somewhere around 23 inches tall. Then once that's checked, that board was good. So then I'm going to proceed to do 3 more at the same height. So of course, since I didn't plan any of this out whatsoever, I forgot something, and in this case it was my square. So what I did to compensate for that is I made little tick marks all the way across the board, and I used this other board as a straight edge to create my cut line, and that seemed to work out pretty well. I'm not going for perfection here, this is just kind of a hastily thing thrown together just so I can bring the truck back across the country a couple more times. Next, I repeated the process for all the other cuts I needed to make. Next, I ripped all 3 boards, and then we can move on to the nailing process. I really wish I brought some clamps or something so I didn't have to lean on the board like this, but it is what it is. I'm sure there's another way I could have done it that was more safe. So real quick, I gotta rip this board down from 9 inches to 7 inches, and then this second one over here, I gotta just rip down to 7 inches for the first time, because the sides are 9 inches, but the front is only 7 inches wide. Once again, demonstrating that I have absolutely no plan and I do not have the proper tools to do this. I'm struggling to hold it upright to nail it in. I'm using 18 gauge brad nails here that are about 1.5 inches long, and they do the trick. So as long as we get these in properly, we should be okay. Alright, now for a quick little fit test. It goes on nice and easily, has enough space where it's not too snug. However, on the top here where it's open, I don't like that. I want to try to cover up those levers so nothing kind of gets down there and maybe messes them up. So the first thing I did here was I nailed in these 2 scrap pieces so the top has something a little more sturdy to sit on than just being nailed from the side. I would like to stress here that I am nowhere close to Carl Rogers or the Perkins brothers or any of those guys, so this is nowhere near a quality piece of work here, but it gets the job done. I think it may have gone a little overboard with the nails. Alright, well, we're getting to the final part of this project. Since I put the top piece on, my measurement is now too short and it sits on top of the lever and doesn't touch the ground. So what I did to fix this is I just took this cut piece, chopped it off to the 7 and 9 inches, and then I just kind of nailed it into the bottom to give myself an extra 3/4 of an inch, which worked out perfectly. So this is all set. Just a little side note here, I don't understand why my breathing comes up so heavy on these cameras. I don't actually breathe that heavily, but for some reason on the mics it picks it up and makes it sound like I'm always out of breath. Anyways, now that that's all done, let's go and test it in a truck.
Alright. Alright. That's much better. See, I can put stuff on the seats to build it up a little more. I stick stuff between the seats. As long as we're not pushing down on those hydraulic levers, we're good. And then when I'm running a dump trailer or something, I could either take it out or just put it right here.
Alright, well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and please tell me in the comments if you like this new format. I kind of like this narration, and I think I'm going to do more of it.